Locations. Champions. 15555 Stuebner Airlines Road, Houston, Texas 77069. North Klein. Klein Multipurpose Center, 7500 FM 2920, Spring, Texas 77379. Moving from this temporary location to a permanent location in approximately 11 months. C3/Conroe. 230 South Loop 336 West, Conroe, Texas 77304. Jersey Village. 16518 Jersey Drive, Jersey Village, Texas 77040. Lezlie Armour. Missions Minister. Champions Campus. Telling her story in her office. Kenya Mission Trip. May 1st through 10, 2018.
There was a team of 8 from Champion Forest go to Africa this year, and you know we have a huge partnership in Kenya. And the team of 8 this year was myself and Pastor Avery and Karen Taylor, Michelle Barr, Tom and Carol Brown, and Trish and Mike Jones. So some of you might know some of them. We go into the very first day, right off the bat, we went to work with, so we are working with the Street Boys of Kibera, and that slum is about 1 million people that live in it, the size of Central Park in New York City. So there's people everywhere. There's no running water, no electricity, raw sewage running down the road, but there's boys that literally live on the street. And our church works with the Street Boys. They're about age 12 to 17, 18 years old. And we took them away from the slum one day to a giraffe center and elephant orphanage. We did the same thing last year. Some of the boys were the same. Some of the boys were new this year. And in between those 2 events that we took them to, we took them to eat lunch. And it was at a very, it was just a little, like a gasoline station that had some booths that they had hamburgers and chicken and that type of thing. So we ordered chicken for them, and it was fun for them to be able to sit at a booth by themselves and just get to visit. They've never sat anywhere like that to eat. They always begged for their food. And then our team sat right next to them at another table. And after they ate, some of us had not eaten quite all of our food, and we said, why don't we give them our leftovers? So we said, hey guys, would you like any of the leftovers? Yes. So they grabbed our leftovers, and they were eating everything we could possibly eat, that they could possibly eat. Trish Jones had eaten something kind of like a pizza, and she had just the crust, just the last of the crust left. And I said, Trish, see if they want it. They probably want it, where that's usually something sometimes that we discard. We said, hey guys, would you like this? And they said, of course, and they took it and ate it. So it just brought home to us how thankful we are to be in America and to be able to eat when we want to eat. These guys, it was like heaven to them to be able to sit there and eat even the leftover pizza crust. But we had a great day with them, and we told them that we would see them the next day in the slum. We were going to come to their home and get to do some fun things. And I'll never forget the picture when they got in that van that we had rented to leave that day. They were smiling and so happy because their tummies were full for the first time in many days. But the next day we got into their slum. We met up with a missionary there named Tammy. She is a single lady in her 40s. She's from the States. Brave as can be. God's with her all the time. And I will never forget something that she said. I was talking with her and said, Tammy, your ministry is doing so well. And she looked at me and she responded, oh, Lezlie, it's Jesus' ministry. I'm just hanging around to see what he does. And it's really cool to see what God does in Kibera slums. These boys, they told us to bring a craft to do. And we thought, what are we going to do for a craft with these young men that don't even have a home to put the craft in? So we thought we would make a leather, we brought from home this piece of leather bracelet. And then one of our team members, Dad's, works with leather, so he had a mallet and some emblem things that they could hammer the mallet onto the leather and make an indentation. And we had brought a cross and a praying hands and sign of the fish. And so that's what they put on their bracelet. And it was funny, after they had put quite a few of these emblems on their bracelet, they said, do you have any others? And we said, well, we do, but they're not the Christian ones, but that's okay. And we looked, and it was like little children. It had a unicorn and a teddy bear and those kind of things. And they all picked the unicorn and the teddy bear, which that was kind of comical to us, that these big old street boys of Kibera wanted a teddy bear and a unicorn on their bracelet. But they did, and so they made them. But it was so cool to watch, because these boys who are living on the street that have no families except themselves, they're a little posse themselves. They've made each other their own family, but they would take turns without us asking them to. They would compliment each other's bracelet, but they were so proud of their bracelet. But it was so cool to get to watch them do something fun in a safe environment. But after that, Tammy said, now they're going to want to leave right after the craft time, because it's time for them this is the time that they go out and start digging through the garbage to find their meal for the evening. So we left. We went back that evening to our hotel, and it became a huge thunderstorm. Rain, big time. And we sat there in our share time that night and said, what about our friends, our street boys right now? They're on the street, and they're in the rain, they're in the thunder, they're in the lightning, and we prayed for them, and I prayed that they would be safe. So the next day when we saw them, we asked them, when it rains, what do you do? And they looked at us like, well, what do you think we do? We're used to that. And but they said, we do hang out together because we protect each other, because the older street boys usually come with hatchets and try to harm us in a very bad way. So pray for the street boys of Kibera. We've told them about Jesus. Many of them have come to know Jesus and have gotten out of the slum. And we've told them, you are the only one, along with Christ, that can get you out of the slum. We have the means of getting you out, but you've got to want to get out yourself. And that's all they've known. So sometimes they don't want to get out. It's kind of like our homeless here in Houston. They have to make that decision. They sniff glue. That's a very big problem. There is some drugs. So they've got to make that decision, but it's cool to see some of them make that decision and come to know Jesus. So continue to pray for the street boys of Kibera. It's a strong relationship that we have there. We also, on the next day, we went to Jennifer and Johnny Lawrence, our missionaries there that we work through. They are with a ministry that they have developed called International Treasure House Ministries, ITHM. And we went to their house because we were going to conduct an all-day life skills training for the kids like the street boys. Some of them had been street boys. Some had some had been rescued years before from society's bad things that happened there in Africa. And they have come to know Jesus, and they're kind of on the other side now, and they have jobs. Some of them are finishing up university, and it's such a blessing to see where they've come, knowing where they were. But we were having a life skills training, and I jotted down, we taught goal setting that day. We taught money management. We taught tithing. We taught how to budget, how to do well in an interview. We taught them their identity in Christ. And then we had one of our team members share at the end, gave her testimony on buried pain. And it related so much to them because every one of them have buried pain. But it was especially after being with the street boys the day before, being with these kids that have come out of it now, these are all young adults. These are all 18 to 25-year-olds that know Jesus and are trying to make something of themselves. There was one young man, though, that I want to ask you to pray for, and his name's Hussein. I think he's probably the only one in the whole group that was not a believer. Of course, he's Muslim. He was born and raised. His family's Muslim. We were asking all of them what their goals were for their life, and his goal is to be president of Kenya one day. He's 21 years old. I talked with him quite a while. Pastor Avery also talked with him quite a while. He's a great guy. His goals, he had goals literally for his life for the next 15 years. Very goal-oriented. I truly believe he'll be president one day of Kenya. But pray for Hussein, because we want him, of course, to become a believer. I really think with so many praying for him and for him being in the middle of International Treasure House Ministries, there's not a chance that he won't be, because he is so, God has put so many believers all around him. But pray for Hussein. I really do think he'll also be president one day. But he's a neat guy. We ended our week by going to Tamalaki School on Sunday, and we had a church service. Pastor Avery preached. It was the first church service that this school has had. We could have been on the ground floor of a church plant there. It was an awesome day. It's right in the middle of Maasai country. And so we had some Maasai there, and I want to remind you, one of the Maasai men was a believer, Wilson. He came in his full garb with his spear and a red cape around him. They wear red to keep the lions off and away. And he, afterwards, I was talking with him, and I said, remind me of some of the things that the Maasai tribe believes. It's very tribal. And he said, we still kill lions often. And I said, how do you do that? How do you kill a lion? Because I know you don't have a gun. He said, well, we use this spear. And he said, really, I put my arm in the lion's mouth, and the lion grabs the arm. And when he does, I'm able to get my spear and kill the lion that way. The women cook, and they actually build the huts that the Maasai live in, that's built out of cow dung. And that keeps the children, the men then, and the women keep the children also, and the men are protecting the family, and that they're also hunting for their food. It's a very tribal, of course, culture, but very unique and very interesting. But this church is in Maasai land. Also, that afternoon, real close by, is International Treasure House. And that is what Champion Forest Baptist Church is highly involved in. And it is a brand new rescue center for boys and girls that need rescuing. And as of just about 5 days ago, after we've been home, they got their first mom and little child that have moved into the rescue center. This is run by Jennifer and Johnny Lawrence, our missionaries that come to Mission Day every year. And so pray for that rescue center. That afternoon, our team poured into the staff that's just been hired and shared Jesus. They are believers, and encouraged them and let them know that we'd be praying for them. I'm going to leave you with, for Africa, one last little story, and that is one of the ladies, short little Kenyan lady named Eunice. She's in her 50s, probably late 50s. She does the groundwork and helps with the gardening there at Treasure House. And Johnny, our missionary, shared with us right before we left that he just happened to find out that Eunice has 2 sons, and what she's being paid from Treasure House for this job, she's using most of that money for education for her 2 sons. So that means she doesn't have transportation to Treasure House. So this lady that's about my age is walking 3 hours one way in the fields of Africa to get to Treasure House to work in the fields all day long, to turn around and to walk 3 hours home every single day. It's in the dark when she leaves. It's dark when she gets home. It's very, very dangerous for a woman anywhere, especially in Africa, in Kenya. So we started praying, what could we do to help Eunice? And so there's a family at our church at Champion Forest that helped buy a small motorcycle for International Treasure House to own, and they're going to use it for different things. That's the mode of transportation for a lot of people. But one of those things is to pick Eunice up and to bring her to Treasure House and then to take her home, so she does not have to walk 6 hours a day in the dark doing that. So you are a major part of this partnership in Kenya, whether you go or do not go, because of your prayers and your money, your financial support. Kenya is close to my heart. It always will be. And I hope one day you're able to go if possible.